With the Federal Reserve lending the U.S. Treasury almost 50% of every dollar it spends, what do you think the chances of hyperinflation are in the United States?
Can you repeat that, please?
Well, I mean, we're out here just doing our due diligence. I think that the mainstream media is completely wrong with the picture that they're painting on the economy and the progress that we've had. So we're going to come see how Main Street's doing, talk to some people, get their opinions, and get down to the nitty-gritty, because you can't just interview pundits and analysts the whole time and expect them to know what's going on. I've always described it as someone looking inside a fish tank trying to describe what's going on to the fish. And I think that they probably have a better idea of what their world's like. With the Federal Reserve printing about 1 out of every $2 that's spent by the U.S. federal government, what do you think the chances are of hyperinflation happening in the U.S.?
Pretty likely, because if we're already in debt and they're printing that much, it's pretty much downhill from there.
Obviously, it's pretty severe right now. I don't know, hyperinflation. I can see it getting worse.
I think until the housing market improves and until people are back to work, the chances of hyperinflation are going to be low. So unlikely in the near future.
Yeah, 2 years. What people got to realize, I think, is don't look to the government. You know, it's going to be we the people, you know, for a more perfect union.
Most likely, yes.
I think we are headed for inflation, but I have a hard time predicting what it might look like, but I don't think hyperinflation is going to head here.
Are you at all concerned about inflation with the Federal Reserve printing so much money, taking on so much debt?
Yes, I am, but what I can do about it, I don't know.
Are you happy that the stock market has come back at all?
Well, yeah, I'm a big stock guy myself. I have one stock and it went up a little bit, so I'm happy with that. But I think that's a sign that things may be turning around.
Okay, excellent. And do you know anything about investing in gold and silver? Are you familiar with that?
You know, I had a friend that did that and he made a lot of money, but I really don't have a lot of knowledge about it. I think it's risky. Somebody told me that it could also go down pretty fast.
And what do you think about gold and silver as an investment?
I don't know as an investment. Gold is way up, of course, and I would imagine it's something that has gone up for the last, 20 years. But I don't know enough about investments to know if you should invest in it. I know the gold I have is worth a lot more than it used to be, and you can sell it now if you want to.
Do you think the national debt can be paid back realistically?
Unlikely.
Unlikely.
Eventually, yes. I do think that it would take a long time.
Well, I'm not sure, since we're already so deep in it already.
Hasn't it? It's been done before, right?
Wow. In my lifetime, probably not.
We're still paying for the War of 1812. I mean, that's the real state of affairs.
Are you concerned at all about our national deficit and inflation?
Yeah, huge. I think it's terrible. I think we just have to, everybody just has to say, okay, we understand, we have to make these cuts, we have to do with less, we have to buy less, we have to suffer through this until it gets better.
Stop spending would be one, and yeah, let the people be free.
Do you think it's a possibility that the dollar will be challenged as the world's reserve currency?
Yes, it already has been.
Some people are calling for a second leg down, double dip recession headed our way. What are your thoughts on this?
That's something that I'm afraid of. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think it's a real possibility. I think that the commercial and industrial real estate market hasn't hit bottom, and the effects of what's going to happen there we haven't seen yet.
From what I hear, it's not likely because the economy is recovering.
We're in a real fragile state.
You know, I actually don't think it got that much better in general. I mean, my business did well because people were broke and they had to sell me their records. So I actually have been doing, the first year of the downturn I did poorly, but the 2 years after I did real well. But in general, I don't think it's as good as people make, as the press has made it out to be, really. It's the general climate, I think, is pretty crappy.
I wouldn't doubt there would be a second recession.
Well, I don't know. It's possible. But
And do you think recovery is right around the corner like everyone's saying?
No, not for a while.
No? Are you concerned about a double dip in the recession, a second downturn that some people are predicting?
Yes, I am. I am concerned for the overall economy. I think that a lot of people are under the impression and the assumption that profligate consumption is going to come back.
Are you familiar with the riots in Egypt? And
sure.
Okay. Regarding the riots, people are saying that the food crisis could possibly spread further than that. Some people are even saying it might happen here eventually. Do you think that that's a possibility in the U.S.?
I doubt it, but I mean, we seem to have control over a lot of supply lines, so I think we would be probably okay for the near future. Yeah.
Hopefully a distant prospect, but it's, don't rule it out. It's a scary proposition.
I don't put it past happening, but, you know, as long as there's irresponsible spending and the way things are going now, I wouldn't doubt that a few decades down the road it could happen.
Depending on what happens with the U.S. economy, there's a possibility that that prices of commodities will go up significantly in the United States. I think that it's probably it would probably largely be artificially created, though.
Unlikely. The United States produces more food than it can eat and exports a lot of food to the rest of the world. It's not going to happen here.
Are you concerned about food inflation?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a valid concern. I'm trying to be more practical in terms of how I'm living, and that includes starting to grow my own food. I'm thinking how bizarre it is that we live in an age where most people buy 100% of what they consume. We are consumers.
No, I don't think that's something that's possible here. But it's not because it shouldn't necessarily be happening. But they've got schemes worked out.
Do you think anything like that is possible here in America?
I do think things. I think things could get worse. I think that it's not wise to look at across the ocean and see circumstances and not imagine that those conditions could happen here or replicate here.
Do you know anyone that's been affected by the economic downturn?
I do.
People that have maybe lost their house?
Yes, and people that are on the brink of that.
On the brink of it right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it seem to you that we have been making traction recently in the last 6 months, year?
Hard to say.
Yeah.
It's pretty indiscernible if that's true.
Do you know anyone that's been personally affected by the economic downturns, maybe lost a home or their job?
No, I don't. Honey, do you know anybody? I don't think we know of anybody.
Well, we know some people who are having trouble getting jobs.
Yeah,
the wine industry, apparently there are 150 applicants for every job.
Wow.
So there are those people. But we personally have been very fortunate and are surrounded by retirees, and so we're pretty secure and haven't been directly affected.
What would you say to the people that 40 million people on food stamps and the 9.5% long-term unemployed?
Show them you're angry.
And have you been personally, or do you know anyone personally affected by the collapse starting in 2008?
I don't know anybody who's not, really. Yeah.
What would you say to the people that are still unemployed and the 40 million people on food stamps?
That the recovery has not been equal. Folks whose 401ks have recovered, like mine, and who are working and whose business has increased, are seeing a recovery. And if you're unemployed, you haven't.
Since the downturn of 2008, there's been a lot of talk of recovery. Are you pretty optimistic about where the economy is headed?
No, I think we're going to have one more downfall before it comes back up.
So you think it's going to be a double dip?
Yeah.
Are you currently employed?
I am, yeah. I'm self-employed.
Oh, excellent. How's your business doing?
It's been doing steadily downwards since 2005.
So it's affecting you personally then?
Yeah, I've actually had to short sell my house.
Really? Do you have any friends that are in the same situation?
Yeah, I have 2 or 3 people that bought their houses in 2005. Now they're going towards a short sell themselves.
Are you concerned about the federal deficit and its effects on inflation?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the whole Federal Reserve conspiracy theory.
Okay, so you think gold and silver are a good investment?
I think right now gold and silver are going to be the only things worth anything when the dollar devalues.
Okay. And in terms of inflation, we're already seeing riots in some of the Middle East countries, North Africa, because of food costs. Do you think that that type of scenario is possible here?
I think that the cost of food and commodities is going to increase by about 14 times overnight at some point in the next 2 or 3 years.